So Darren, from your perspective as a property casualty agent,
Mhm.
someone that looks at risk management more from a holistic point of view and really diving into the coverages and asking a lot of questions, talk to me about some of the things that you see that maybe surprise you when you start reviewing coverages that people have today.
I think the biggest surprise to me is the liability limits, and they don't have an umbrella. You know, at 45 years old, they've got two kids driving. That to me just scares me, because those kids are part of that policy, and we all know kids aren't the best drivers. I mean, it's the reason why their premiums are the highest.
Can you break it down for our listeners and our viewers on YouTube? What you mean when you talk about an umbrella policy? Talk to us about what that does and why you think it's critical, and then the cost.
Sure. The umbrella policy. So typically you have your underlying limits, which in order to get an umbrella policy with most insurance companies, you have to have what I call 250-500. That's $250,000 for the first person in the vehicle, up to $500,000 for everyone else in the vehicle that's been injured. So after that, if those limits have been exceeded, that's when the umbrella policy kicks in. So that's for lawyers, litigation, any medical bills, all of that.
And so your umbrella policies are typically what, $1 million?
$1 million is typically the average, and depending on the household, if it's just a husband and wife, they're anywhere from $175 to $225 a year. And if you've got two kids, they can get up to around $400 a year.
But that's really inexpensive,
Very inexpensive
to get that extra $1 million of coverage. Okay, so you explained that for an automobile. How does that work on personal property,
Umbrella's
home,
the same.
A renter's policy or something like that?
Yeah, an umbrella covers everything that is underneath that policy. So that's your home, that's your auto, that's everyone that's insured there as well. So for a great example, someone has a pool. If you don't have an umbrella policy,
Yeah, I have a pool.
Yeah, if you don't have an umbrella policy, you need one immediately. I mean, the worst kind of accidents happen in pools, and so that typically on a home, $300,000 is what I would recommend to have on liability coverage. You can go all the way up to $1 million, but then you can also add that umbrella on top of that. And that's extremely important.
Is the same umbrella policy that goes on the car is the same umbrella policy that goes on the home?
It is, but you think, well, I had an accident this year and I broke into that umbrella policy. That umbrella policy is covering also on the home as well. It's just not one limit. So if you have an accident over in the car, you have an accident over in the house, you get $1 million for the house, you get $1 million for the auto. It's not up to.
And so it's a per occurrence type of a thing,
yep.
And it's not a lifetime limit or something like that.
Not
So
at all.
it could be done
every year. It renews.
Okay.
Typically, if you don't have $1 million umbrella policy, for a few years, you can't just come in and ask for a $3 million policy. We've got to start at 1 or 2. And with good insurance history, that's when you can start adding it up to $3 to $5 million. But $5 million is typically the highest they'll go.
Starting your route to retirement.